So I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Petra Franklin. Petra, why don't you start making your way up? Oh, there you are. I've had the joy of getting to work with Petra a little bit recently in a very, very, very small way, supporting her and the team at Dwehl. And I'm excited for her to talk about what Dwehl is doing to change homeownership and make the benefits of homeownership more accessible. So thank you, Petra.
Basically, so far, I've said that you're very beautiful, and that you voted with your feet, and that you're daring, and that we're meeting in this profound cathedral to the greatest technological invention of all time, books. I'm very fond of them. Surely we are all doing what we can to address the hairy and complicated nightmare that is climate change. The Dwehl founders came together and looked upstream at one of the underlying causes: citizens prospering at the expense of other people and shared natural resources. And we decided to right a wrong along those lines and to ensure that homeownership could serve those not able to get to traditional financing. Historically, this has been a zero-sum game that endangers both people and place. So we ensured that our technology and approach transforms homeownership into one that is beneficial for all participants in the value chain. I'm grateful to Erin and Susan for inviting me to share and allowing us to share how Dwehl accomplishes this. We call the total number of homes in our country the housing stock, and it's our largest monetary asset. And today, that housing stock is at an all-time high. It's worth $31.8 trillion. Clearly, it recovered from the 2008 recession. What did not recover was home ownership and home equity. They are at their lowest point since the census started tracking them in 1965. We have become a nation of renters. We have jobs, we pay rent. Together, we rent 43.7 million single-family homes. And last year, we spent $485.6 billion on rent. So what's wrong with renting? It's easier. It turns out that the average net worth of a renter is $5,000, whereas the average net worth of a homeowner is $225,000. And that 45x delta has become a driver, and it's causing the widening of income inequality in America. The Urban Institute recently reported that the foreclosure crisis erased all of the gains Black people had made in home ownership since the passage of the Fair Housing Act in the 1960s. This divisiveness of place is extracting a tremendous toll on our humanity, our communities, and our middle class. Another point is that renters can expect to spend 30 to 50% of their income on rent, whereas homeowners can expect to spend 15 to 25% of their income on their monthly payment. One question you might have is, do these renters actually want to be homeowners? And it turns out that Pew Research reported that 72% of all renters said that they would prefer to buy a house. So we see this as an opportunity to reinvent homeownership. For the investor, we can give them real-time, geographically diversified property investments and a portfolio that can return up to 14%. They can receive monthly payments of principal and interest similar to an annuity, or they can invest and compound their portfolio for maximum growth. For the home buyer, we do not ask for a down payment, and we qualify them by looking at their history of rental payments, their timeliness, and the size. We look at 3 years. Once that's verified, we take that number, we reverse into it insurance, taxes, interest, and show them available homes. They're only obligated for the monthly payment, not for the total cost of the home. And they have no fear of bankruptcy or default or foreclosure. They accrue equity immediately and faster than they would with a traditional mortgage, and they retain the upside in the value upon sale. Home sellers benefit too. Homes, they reach a larger audience of qualified buyers, and they can close quickly. Our fee of 2% includes an inspection. You can see our interface. So Dwehl is profitable, which means it's sustainable. We charge 2% on a property transfer, 2% to originate a property investment, and 0.5% to service. To show you how that works, in Seattle, the average Dwehl home would be $600,000, and that would produce about $22,000 in revenue for Dwehl. In Atlanta, the average Dwehl home would be closer to $300K, and that would produce a revenue of $12,000. So 200 Seattle homes equals revenue of $4,400,000 for Seattle, for Dwehl, and 200 Atlanta homes equal $2,400,000 for Dwehl. This particular arena has very large incumbents. And last year, 508 million US homes were sold, and that yielded $2 trillion for the mortgage industry and $158 billion for the residential brokers. Luckily, we're not actually targeting their market. We're focused on 6 million people who are fiscally reliable payers. They're part of the Millennial and Generation X demographics, and they have no option for home ownership. And that works for the mortgage industry because they see us as creating future customers for refinance. And the brokers, NARS at least, their lobbying organization, has asked us to put a button. So far we get along, and the regulatory world is very grateful that we comply with accredited investor and housing finance regulations, and that we are able to, protect both homeowners and investors. Though it is interesting to note that if 1% of the 5.8 million traditionally financed mortgage buyers heard about the fact that they accrue more equity with Dwehl, that would result in about $500 million of revenue for Dwehl. So this is an ambitious company, and it takes a team with an extraordinary track record of scaling opportunities, and we have that. I wanted to give you an example. When we created Dwehl, we really looked at the entire United States and where the break-even horizon was negative, and we found 5 metropolises that had great universities and wonderful schools and a large rentership. And Seattle didn't make the list, but I wanted to figure out a way to do it, so I'm going to give you some examples. So here we have a renter paying $4,500 a month for a house in Edmonds, and I found just 7,000 feet away a house where they could buy with Dwehl for $4,600 a month. They add some bedrooms, and they double the lot size. Then I found a 5,500 renter who'd been there for 4 years, and 2,000 feet away from them, they're living in Lake Forest Park, I found a 5,200 Dwehl home that they could afford. And then even closer to downtown, slightly, Sunnyside, I found somebody who's paying $4,500 who could move to a $4,700 per month home. So it is possible in Dwehl because the break-even horizon here is between 0 and 24 months. So is this so much better off? Let me show you. A renter in Atlanta, Georgia, paying $2,300 per month, doesn't know if their lease is going to be re-upped, and they spend $146,000 over 5 years, and they have 0 equity to show for it. A homeowner through Dwehl pays $2,300 a month. Their ownership is a fixed cost. They invest $5,000 in an energy efficiency upgrade, which Dwehl suggests, and they have $45,446 in equity. We believe homes are the fulcrum of our lives, the place where we connect with those we love, and the place where we can be utterly ourselves. We believe homeownership has a profound ability to inspire greatness, and that it brings crucial stability to our communities, and that it determines our financial trajectory. We believe place matters. Janet Yellen, in her speech on perspectives on inequality and opportunity when she was on the board of the Federal Reserve, said housing wealth, the net equity held in homes minus mortgage debt, is the most important source of wealth for all but those at the very top. Thank you.